From outsmarting a West Country AI core to pummeling diminutive crime lords, here are 8 British baddies it felt brilliant to beat. The reason that British people make good baddies is that historically we were sort of bad. And it's alright for me to say that because I'm British, and technically that counts as me being self-deprecating. So, in celebration of Independence Day, when America cast off the yoke of imperialism, we're going to look at some great British baddies whose stiff upper lips you get to split. Although I should mention now that some of the baddies in this list don't actually have lips, it's more of a conceptual thing.
But never mind.
And if you're British and you're not sure where this is going, sit back and enjoy the video, safe in the knowledge that there's still one thing we do better than anyone else, and that's being evil. Here are 8 British baddies it felt brilliant to beat. Spoilers, obviously, because of the whole beating thing.
I suppose I have a moment.
It's probably not great to start with a caveat, but we're going to do it anyway. Technically, Liquid Snake isn't that British.
Really?
He has a Japanese mother, he was born in America, and he's also a clone of the real Big Boss, which probably affects his nationality since he was born in a petri dish rather than in a maternity ward. But he did spend some time in England when he was young under the care of Major Zero, and he joined the British Special Forces when he was just 18. So it tells us a lot that despite his limited Britishness, Liquid still speaks with the sneering received pronunciation of a 1950s Eton schoolmaster. Except of course when his accent slips, which it does all the time, and he just sounds like an American with a nasal infection. Your reward for putting up with all this beastliness is pummeling Liquid Snake on top of a defeated Metal Gear Rex, and it feels rather nice. Most British accents in games either sound like members of the royal family or Victorian chimney sweeps. So it's refreshing then to hear a Bristolian accent in a video game.
I'm absolutely sure you're fine.
Especially since people with Bristol accents are usually typecast as pirates, farmers or pirate farmers. But Stephen Merchant's perfect performance of Wheatley provides us with a different type of British baddie. At first, he's a well-meaning buffoon, created as a part of GLaDOS, responsible for generating bad ideas to dampen her intelligence. But like all good British baddies, Wheatley's heel turn comes when he's given a bit of power. And if you don't believe me, there's any number of dental receptionists and post office managers I can direct you to prove my point. Anyway, Wheatley becomes drunk on power after being hooked up to GLaDOS's body, a departure from the traditional West Country tipple of cider, and in the end, the only solution for his bad behaviour is to fire him into space.
Yeah, we're both in space.
Loghain Mac Tir from Dragon Age Origins proves that British badness is so ubiquitous that apparently it can leave this sceptred Isle of Albion and permeate fantasy landscapes beyond mortal comprehension. Alright, that's a little bit of an exaggeration and one that doesn't take into account that Dragon Age has loads of British accents. The elves are Welsh and the Fereldans are mostly English. But there's something about Logan's brand of pasty, plotting badness that makes him feel British even if he's actually not.
Traitors!
Logan perfected the evil Tom Hiddleston look long before Tom Hiddleston actually did it. And to be fair to Logan, his motivations are largely for the protection of the Ferelden people. You don't have to defeat him if you don't want to, and if you let him live he'll turn up later in Dragon Age Inquisition. But none of this stops it feeling amazing if you decide to let Alistair avenge his betrayal from the start of Origins.
It's a matter of personal choice, I suppose.
The Assassin's Creed series is full of nefarious agents of the Templar Order, but few are as gosh darn charismatic as the ultra-cool Haytham Kenway.
Let us go.
Think James Bond, but with a hidden blade instead of an invisible car, and you've got Connor Kenway's father. Beating Haytham at the end of Assassin's Creed 3 is almost a bittersweet experience, given the fact that compared to Connor, Haytham is by far the more interesting character. And in fact, we have a video about exactly that. However, given his predilections for murdering key global players like George Washington, Haytham and his wonderful attitude problem had to go. Even if you do want to start AC3 again, just to walk in his smug boots one more time.
Have the element of surprise on our side. Half will fall before they've even realised what's happened.
How evilly British is Jon Irenicus? He's so evilly British that he's voiced by none other than veteran voice actor David Warner, the guy you get to voice your British rotter when you don't want or can't afford Patrick Stewart.
Interesting.
Irenicus is described in the game as a name synonymous with death and ugliness, which goes some way to explaining exactly how bad he is. He's a constant, miserable threat throughout all of Baldur's Gate 2, with a rep sheet that includes kidnapping, torture, murder, and even attempted godhood. He ticks so many British baddie boxes that he could almost have a list of his own. He's a mad scientist, a malevolent sorcerer, and an all-round evil genius. And in case you were in any doubt about his unpleasantness, your final battle with Irenicus takes place in Hell.
To end like this?
So far we've focused mainly on the classic British baddie, suave, cerebral and sneering. The Penguin from Rocksteady's Arkham series is the opposite of that. Instead, he's an East End gangster in the wrong aspect ratio, with Nolan North doing his best core blimey, table legs, apples and chips, here's your Saveloy impression of a Cockney.
No, I'm sorry.
Although, to be fair to Rocksteady, all their versions of DC characters are deliberate exaggerations, so it makes sense that old Oswald has teeth like a row of bombed houses and a bottle of Stella Artois stuck in his face where a monocle should be. He also provides the most satisfying example of comeuppance on this list. He may not be as smug or irritating as some of the posher baddies he shares this video with, but it still feels incredible when you finally put Bat Fist to Penguin Face. You'll never squawk again, mate! Have it!
Well, look who it is.
Much like Dragon Age above, most of the characters in Dark Souls have British accents. There's even a Welsh pyromancer, but it's the haughty Golden Knight Lautrec of Carim who fully embodies the spirit of this list.
I truly appreciate this.
Like all the best British villains, he's pleasant enough when you first meet him, even if his dialogue is gently unnerving. So far, so Dark Souls. If you killed everyone in the game who had a sinister laugh, there'd be nobody left to talk to. And Carim, his homeland, even sounds like the Dark Souls version of medieval Britain. It's miserable and sinister, and the people are rather pasty. And then Lautrec goes and murders the precious Firekeeper, making your run through Lordran even more difficult. When you finally do catch up with him, he's flanked by two irritating helpers, and he wields a pair of special curved blades that will make life impossible for anyone reliant on a shield. We bet if you removed Lautrec's stupid mask, it'd reveal the classic English look of pale skin and an evil sneer. Oh wait, someone has removed Lautrec's stupid mask, and he looks exactly like Tom flipping Hiddleston again. Great. Of all of the entries on this list, Wesker proves beyond doubt that Britishness is directly proportional to evilness. Back at the start of Resident Evil 1, Wesker isn't really that British. He sounds more like a robot pretending to be human, which might just tell us about the quality of voice acting back in 1996.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But with each consecutive Resident Evil, Wesker has been getting more British as he gets more evil, like a high school drama student playing a Shakespearean villain. And by the time we get to Resident Evil 5, he's fully embraced it and gone full, flamboyant, cape-swooshing awful. He kills Oswald Spencer in a scene straight out of a Hammer horror movie, brainwashes Jill Valentine, and ultimately plans to rule over a new race of superpowered humans as a god. Which is quite a lofty goal for a guy that keeps creepy photos of Rebecca Chambers in his desk.
This isn't over.
Now, before we go, we need to do the video game equivalent of a postscript. We focused on PC games in this list, but we can't leave without mentioning Uncharted and its Savile Row-tailored parade of British baddies. If you're British and you're in an Uncharted game, you're guaranteed to betray Nathan Drake or pretend to betray Nathan Drake, in turn betraying someone else. Even Nate's namesake, Sir Francis, was used as a folktale to scare Spanish children.
So fearless.
So there you go, 8 tea-drinking, weather-obsessed ne'er-do-wells you can enjoy defeating in celebration of Independence Day. Let us know your favourite British baddies in the comments below, hit the like button if you've ever explained your evil plans in a posh accent, and subscribe to Logitech G for more deliciously sinister list features just like this one.